There are two kinds of people in every room you'll ever walk into. One of them was born with it, the voice, the talent, the natural gift everyone notices in seconds. The other one has nothing special to show. No natural gift. No head start. Nothing that makes people turn their heads. And yet, years later, it's the second person standing at the top. Not because they were smarter. Not because they were luckier. Because they showed up on the days the talented one didn't. That's the secret nobody tells you about greatness. Talent opens the door. Consistency is the one who actually walks through it every single day. Nobody claps for the days that don't feel special. Nobody films you the 400th time you show up when you don't feel like it. There's no applause for opening the laptop again after a bad day, for going back to the gym after skipping once, for practicing the same skill when nobody's watching and nothing feels like it's working yet. And that's exactly why most people quit right there. They wanted talent, a shortcut, a spark that would carry them. But the people who actually become dangerously good at something, they learn to survive on nothing but shown-up days. You felt this before. You watch someone else pick up a skill in weeks that took you months. You watch someone talk their way into a room you've been trying to enter for years. And the quiet, exhausting question starts playing in your head. Why does it come so easy for them? Why do I have to fight for every inch? You start believing you're missing something they have. Some invisible gift you were never given. So you compare, you shrink, you assume the race is already over before you've even really started running it. But here's what that comparison never shows you. The race isn't measured in weeks. It's measured in years, sometimes decades. Talent gives someone a fast start off the line. It says nothing about who's still running at mile 20. Most naturally gifted people rely on that early speed so much, they never build the muscle for the long distance. So when the race gets hard, when it demands boring repetition instead of natural flair, they slow down, they wander off, they quit quietly. And the ones who kept showing up, the ones with nothing special, they're still moving. Talent is lightning. It strikes once, bright and loud, and everyone sees it. Consistency is water. Quiet, slow, unimpressive, dripping onto the same spot again and again, and nobody notices anything happening. But give that water enough time, and it doesn't just touch the stone. It carves straight through it. That's the part talent can never do. Lightning doesn't return tomorrow. Water does. And eventually, water reshapes the entire landscape, while lightning is remembered as a single flash that came and went and changed absolutely nothing structural at all. This is why consistency quietly out-earns talent almost every single time. It compounds. 1 rep barely matters. 100 reps start to matter. 1,000 reps become a completely different person than the one who started. Talent gives you a head start, but it doesn't compound the same way, because gifted people often stop practicing the fundamentals early, assuming natural ability will carry them forever. Meanwhile, the ordinary person, the one who kept adding 1 more rep, 1 more day, 1 more attempt, they were building an advantage that talent alone could never purchase. Think of any craftsman who spent 20 years in a small unnoticed workshop before the world ever called them talented. Nobody saw the thousands of failed pieces stacked quietly against the wall. Nobody saw the years where nothing sold, nothing worked, nothing looked good enough. The world only met them the day they finally succeeded, and immediately assumed it was natural gift. But it was never gift. It was 2 decades of unglamorous repetition that nobody applauded, that nobody filmed, that nobody even knew was happening. The overnight success took 20 quiet years to arrive at that one visible night. That gallery didn't appear because talent finally showed up one lucky morning. It appeared because consistency was paid, in full, in tiny unnoticed installments, for years. And here's the uncomfortable truth hiding underneath that story. Anyone willing to make those same tiny, boring, repeated payments can build the exact same kind of result. Not overnight. Not through some hidden gift. Through the same currency available to absolutely everyone. Showing up again, on the day it feels pointless, on the day nothing seems to be working, on the day it would be so much easier to just stop. There's an actual biological reason consistency beats talent long-term. Every time you repeat an action, your brain wraps a fatty layer called myelin around the neural pathway responsible for it, and that layer makes the signal travel faster and stronger. In simple terms, repetition physically rewires your brain to make the skill easier every single time you do it. Talented people often skip this process because things already feel easy for them. But someone who repeats the hard version, over and over, is quietly building a faster, stronger pathway that eventually outperforms raw natural ability completely. This is why elite performers obsess over boring fundamentals long after they've already become good. They understand something most people never learn. Mastery isn't a moment you arrive at. It's a floor that keeps rising every time you repeat the basics one more time. The person who does the simple thing correctly 10,000 times will always be more reliable than the person who did something brilliant once. Because brilliance is a spike. Reliability is a foundation. And nobody builds anything lasting on a spike. They build it on a foundation poured one ordinary rep at a time. Talent without consistency has a quiet expiration date. You've seen it happen. The naturally gifted kid who was supposed to go all the way, who had more raw ability at 15 than most people ever develop in a lifetime, and somehow disappeared by 25. Not because the gift vanished. Because gifts don't maintain themselves. They need the same unglamorous repetition everyone else needs, and the person who never had to work for anything early on often never learned how to work for anything later. Their talent became a museum piece nobody visits anymore, admired once, then quietly forgotten. Meanwhile, the unremarkable one, the person nobody expected anything from, becomes the one everyone trusts in the room. Not because they're suddenly the smartest person there. Because for years they were the one who actually delivered, again and again, without needing applause for it. That kind of trust cannot be talked into existence. It cannot be faked with charisma for very long. It has to be built, slowly, through hundreds of ordinary moments where someone simply did what they said they would do. And once it's built, it becomes something almost impossible to take away from you. So how do you actually build this? You stop chasing motivation and you start protecting a minimum. Not your best effort every day, that's impossible. Your minimum. The smallest version of the habit you could still do on your worst day. 5 minutes instead of an hour. 1 page instead of a chapter. 1 rep instead of a full session. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is that the streak never breaks, because an unbroken streak of small actions will always outperform an inconsistent streak of impressive ones. Protect the minimum, and the identity builds itself around it. There's a reason so many high performers obsess over not breaking the chain. Once you miss one day, missing 2 feels acceptable, and once missing 2 feels normal, the entire identity collapses back into whoever you were before you started. So the real skill isn't discipline in the dramatic sense. It's refusing to let the chain break, even on the days it barely counts. Show up tired. Show up unmotivated. Show up when it feels pointless. Because the version of you that shows up anyway on those exact days is the version that eventually makes talent completely irrelevant. One day, You look back, and the gap between you and the naturally gifted people you used to compare yourself to has quietly disappeared. Not because you suddenly became talented. Because you became something more durable than talent. Someone who shows up regardless of mood, regardless of motivation, regardless of whether the world is watching. And when that becomes who you are, when consistency stops being something you do and becomes something you simply are, talent stops being relevant at all, because you've built something talent alone was never designed to build. A person nothing can quietly outwork. So if you've been waiting to feel talented enough, ready enough, gifted enough to finally start, stop waiting for that feeling. It was never required. All that's ever been required is one more day of showing up when it would be easier not to. Pick one small habit right now. Protect it every single day. Not perfectly, just consistently. And in enough time, you won't be the person hoping to catch up to talented people anymore. You'll be the person other people quietly wonder how you became so unshakably, dangerously consistent. Start today. Not tomorrow. Today.